So there's a part of me that feels I should offer some type of apology because I came to the realization today that this time of the year in particular, what this channel sort of devolves into is me screaming disrespect, playing the disrespect card on the behalf of the Kansas City Chiefs. But guys, tell me I'm wrong. I have a video that I'm still trying to figure out the right tone and tonality for because, Chris Sims put Patrick Mahomes at number 4 in the NFL right now, not on his Mount Rushmore, not of all time, in the NFL right now. And I have to say, I'm debating whether or not to make that video because just being 1000% fair, there's a part of me that's afraid I'm getting so upset about that ranking because Chris Sims is the only iteration of an NFL player, the only iteration of an NFL player that I've ever looked at and think, I'm whooping that ass. I'm taking him out. If we're at a bar and I order a beer and Chris Sims intercepts it on the way sliding down the countertop to me and drinks my Boulevard Wheat before I can, I'm beating him up. I'm giving him a swirly. I'm giving him a wedgie, the whole 9 yards, and I'm 1000% sure I could do it. I would leave him starched like that collar of his. So I don't know if I really want to go on and make that video because maybe it's just sour grapes. Maybe it's just me being persnickety at the idea of Chris Sims in general. But today there is but more disrespect from PFF. And I know, guys, I don't curse on this channel a whole lot. I try not to. That one slipped out about Chris Sims. Still, though, I'm being honest. I know there's the whole, well, what about a kicker, right? Have you ever been kicked in the leg during a fight? It changes everything. You go from wanting to fight, all of a sudden you're talking about trade negotiations, you're talking about sanctions. You don't want to fight anymore because that is painful. But back to the issue at hand. Well, hands, the wide receivers, bringing that up because just a couple years ago, Patrick Mahomes led the team with the most drops in the NFL to the Super Bowl and a victory. And then last year, Patrick Mahomes led a team with its wide receiver 1 injured and its wide receiver 2 injured. And he took a wide receiver core led by a rookie who was supposed to spend his entire rookie season learning the ropes as the gadget guy. He took that wide receiver room all the way to the Super Bowl. Now, they lost in fairly dramatic fashion, but an offense without wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, at times running back 1, and at times running back 2, all of that. So, what I'm saying is, by bringing up the Mahomes point, is that any ranking that we would give this wide receiver core for the Kansas City Chiefs kind of deserves a bump because, well, they have the ultimate force multiplier in the NFL at their behest, Patrick Mahomes. That is not, however, what we see from PFF. Originally, I subscribed to PFF. I paid the fee for PFF in order to have access to their draft, their mock draft stuff, because I think they do a pretty good job with it. Now, I just complain about their articles all the time. In an article titled 2025 NFL Receiving Core Rankings, Eagles kick things off at number 1 from PFF. We get the intro to the article that says the following: NFL passing attacks are diverse, largely built to fit the player's skill sets. Knowing that, we're taking a zoomed out look at every team's receiving core ahead of the 2025 NFL season and ranking all 32 units, and they immediately go into much more than just the wide receivers. It seems they're talking about the receiving end of pause. They're talking about players who make receptions. Probably a much safer way to put those words out there on the internet. Where, oh, where does Kansas City rank on this list? Well, guys, number 14. Basically smack dab in the middle of the NFL. Here I am, having been touting this wide receiver core so heavily all offseason, especially after Hollywood Brown was re-signed, especially after Jalen Royals was drafted in the 4th freaking round. How do they justify this? Well, they say the following. Rashee Rice led the NFL in catches and receiving yards before his injury last season, and though 2024 was a small sample size, it marked back-to-back seasons of 85.0 plus PFF receiving grades. Assuming that we're automatically dispelling Rashee Rice having led the NFL in both receiving yards and catches until his injury last season by saying, well, he was injured last season. Keep that on the back burner because we're going to see a player a little bit later who went through a pretty nasty injury, and it's not being covered in that way. Now, Xavier Worthy ended his rookie season with 88.7 and 86.1 PFF receiving grades in his final 2 games of the postseason. If Hollywood Brown can give the Chiefs a fully healthy season in addition to whatever Travis Kelce has left in the tank, this could be a difficult group to cover. I don't know why we're talking about Travis Kelce, but okay, that's fine. No shout out to the 4th round pick, fine, despite the fact that many people thought that the 4th round pick was really legitimately a 2nd round pick, but with the glut of wide receiver talent that has come in through the draft the past 2 seasons, not a lot of teams felt like they had to take a gamble on a wide receiver at that spot, even though there were some reports that teams kind of had fringe 1st round grades maybe on Jalen Royals. And we have seen already Jalen Royals by Andy Reid himself being compared to Rashee Rice, who was one of the more successful rookies at the wide receiver position in his rookie year. So, discount it completely, that's fine. Discount completely the fact that Rashee Rice was leading the NFL in catches and yards prior to his injury. Discount completely the fact that Rashee Rice, had he played the final week of his rookie season, might have actually been a 1,000-yard player. Discount completely the fact that Xavier Worthy may have been kind of hit or miss in his rookie season, but once things were gloves off in the Super Bowl, he was just kind of open all day long downfield, and Mahomes finally got that to work. Got that stroke down the field. We can dismiss all of that, but I would like to take a look at some of the other teams. If Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, even if you're willing to throw in Travis Kelce to that group, even if that is not all that impressive a group, going 14th overall, slightly above the Kansas City Chiefs at 12th overall, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens have 2 top 10 players in PFF's tight end rankings. Well, I thought we were ranking receivers. Mark Andrews at number 4 and Isaiah Likely at number 9. Zay Flowers deservedly landed in the top 25 in PFF's wide receiver rankings, and running back Justice Hill recorded the 4th highest PFF receiving grade at the position last season, 89.0. Baltimore's team, 88.2 PFF receiving grade, ranked second only to the Lions in 2024. Do you see the problem I'm having here? You are saying this is a receiver rankings. You list for the Ravens Zay Flowers. Now, there are 4 players named in this blurb. One of them is a receiver. Let's dig a little deeper. If we look at the Ravens' actual receiving core and a neat little ad for M&T Bank with Zay Flowers in the middle of your screen because this is screenshotted off of Baltimore's website. Starters: Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and DeAndre Hopkins. Well, the Chiefs wide receiver core just let DeAndre Hopkins walk because DeAndre Hopkins is not DeAndre Hopkins. He's a guy wearing a DeAndre Hopkins skin suit. Age has hit DeAndre Hopkins pretty hard. I shouldn't make fun of him, but look, maybe I should. Rashad Bateman is their number 2 wide receiver, and Zay Flowers number 1. Now, Zay Flowers, to the best of my recollection, has a mid-800 yard rookie season to his credit, and a 1,000 yard, but I believe sub 1,100 yard season last year. So, pretty good, but not great. Backups: Tylan Wallace, Devontae Walker, LeJounte Wester, and look, I spend a lot of time in the draft, right? You've seen the work I do on this channel. Competing for wide receiver positions: Anthony Miller, Malik Cunningham, Keith Kirkwood, Dayton Wade, Jamal Banks, and Xavier Gilroy. Okay, those are definitely all names. Names of wide receivers, presumably. So if Zay Flowers has an 800-yard and a 1,000-yard season to his credit, which is pretty good, not great. DeAndre Hopkins is still on an NFL roster, and Rashad Bateman is number 2. What does Rashad Bateman bring to the table? Here's Rashad Bateman's career: 2021, 515 yards. 2022, 285 yards. 2023, 367 yards. 2024, 756 yards. But in 2024, he also added 9 touchdowns, bringing his career total of touchdowns to 13. Now, far be it from me to accuse a guy who had 750 yards and less than 10 touchdowns of being a one-year wonder, but it would seem that is something of the case. His most successful season in the NFL, besides last year, was his rookie season. That is anomalous. But that's not even the Ravens. One of the weirdest examples from this list. We have to go all the way up into the top 10 to find the Chicago Bears. The Bears ranked in the top 5 of my receiving core rankings going into 2024, which proved to be too high for a unit that went on to rank 27th in PFF receiving grade. Okay. However, much of the team's struggle stemmed from a rookie quarterback and a bad offensive coaching staff. Chicago retained its core receivers, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Cole Kmet, and added Colston Loveland, Luther Burden III to the mix while parting ways with Keenan Allen. Look, I would have loved to have seen Luther Burden in a Chiefs uniform had the offensive tackle Josh Simmons not fallen that far. That said, Luther Burden has actual questions on whether or not he'll be able to get open in the NFL. I think he will. He was able to get open in the SEC. I think that translates to the NFL pretty generally. Rome Odunze had a decent rookie season. DJ Moore and Cole Kmet, is that really where you're placing all of the faith in this group? For a group that was 27th last year? Okay. That's top 10? I just don't understand sometimes, I guess. Maybe I don't have the words, because I'm pretty sure that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to step onto the field in 2025, and so long as everything goes okay, right? Last season was supposed to be a season where the Chiefs did pretty good at all of this stuff, but, well, there were injuries. If the Chiefs skirt by those problems this season, I don't see any way the Chiefs do not score I don't see any way that this offense does not become one of the top 20 offenses in NFL history with a shot at being a top 10 offense in NFL history and with an outside shot at being a top 5 offense in NFL history. Think about it. All of the speed represented by Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and just throw in Tyquan Thornton. Just to do it. Just to say whoever that fifth wide receiver is. That's a lot of speed. Then you mix in the possession wide receiver capabilities of Rashee Rice and the potential possession wide receiver capabilities of Jalen Royal, who I think there's a shot that Jalen Royals ends up being the number 2 wide receiver for the Chiefs at the end of the season. And why would I say that when I'm a big believer in Xavier Worthy? Well, it's because Xavier Worthy doesn't want to be on the line. Jalen Royals is built basically just like Rashee Rice, and he can be on the line of scrimmage. If you can allow Xavier Worthy to be off the line of scrimmage by having Jalen Royals and Rashee Rice on the line, you change things completely for this offense. Throw in the greatest receiving tight end in NFL history, tail end of his career, sure. Throw in several what-ifs at the tight end position with Noah Gray, Jared Wiley, Jake Brenningstool. Throw in the fact that they might not have a left tackle. They might have 2. They might not have 2 starting offensive tackles. They might have 3, and they have maybe the best depth at the offensive line they've ever had. I don't mean in the Andy Reid era. I mean, this might be the deepest offensive line in franchise history. 1 or 2 guys works out, and you have a 3 deep basically everywhere that could be a guy that takes reps in meaningful games for the Chiefs, and you don't see a disappointing drop-off. And then you throw in, just at the tail end, I mean, in case it works, there's a quarterback named Patrick Mahomes on the roster. I just don't understand how this team... So no one's projecting with the Kansas City Chiefs. You notice that this time of the year with this team, no one is projecting them. Everyone's looking backwards for the Chiefs and forwards for other teams. You will get all sorts of articles about how the Bears are going to have worked their way into a playoff position, how the Broncos are going to win the AFC West. You'll get articles about how this really is the Cowboys' season, projecting forward for these other franchises. But everything with the Kansas City Chiefs, I defy you. I defy you. Go and find someone besides Nick Wright in the mainstream media that is projecting forward for this franchise on a regular basis, saying, look, if everything works out the way it looks on paper, this is what the Chiefs will do. No, everyone's saying the Chiefs are going to take a step backwards. I don't think that's the case. That's all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.